The capture. In the vast expanse of space, Captain Alex Mercer piloted his scout ship through an uncharted sector, unaware that danger lurked just beyond the stars. His mission was simple: gather intelligence on alien activity in this remote region. But as he navigated through swirling nebulae, a sudden jolt rocked his vessel. Alarms blared as multiple ships emerged from stealth mode, surrounding him like predators closing in on their prey. The Zarkans were notorious for their ruthless tactics, and today they had chosen to make an example out of him. Despite his training, panic surged through him as he fought to regain control of his ship. He fired back at the attackers, but was quickly overwhelmed by superior numbers and firepower. With one final explosion, his ship spiraled into darkness. When Alex regained consciousness, he found himself in a dimly lit cell aboard a Zarkan cruiser. His body ached, and he struggled to piece together what had happened. As he lay on the cold metal floor, memories flooded back. His crew, his mission, all lost in an instant. He felt a surge of anger mixed with despair. He was now just another prisoner in an alien war machine. The cell door creaked open, revealing a towering Zarkan guard with metallic skin glinting under harsh lights. "Welcome to your new home," it growled in a guttural voice. Fear gripped Alex's heart as he was dragged from his cell into the bowels of the ship. He was thrown into a crowded holding area filled with other captured humans, each face reflecting hopelessness and defeat. As days turned into weeks, life in captivity became a brutal routine. The Zarkans reveled in their power over humanity, parading their prisoners before their ranks as trophies. Alex observed everything: the guards' routines, their technology, even their weaknesses. He knew that survival meant more than just enduring. It meant finding a way to escape and turn the tables on these captors. In this dark place, camaraderie began to form among the prisoners. They shared stories of their lives before capture, families left behind, dreams shattered, all while plotting their escape. Among them was Sarah, a former engineer whose sharp mind sparked ideas for breaking free from their chains. Together, they whispered late into the night about plans to reclaim their freedom. One day, during an inspection by Commander Vrax, the ruthless leader of the Zarkans, Alex seized an opportunity to observe closely. Vrax was arrogant and enjoyed taunting his captives. He often boasted about humanity's impending doom. But as Alex watched him strut through the holding area, something ignited within him, a determination not just to survive, but to fight back. As time passed, whispers of rebellion began circulating among prisoners. They spoke of unity and strength against their captors. Tales spread like wildfire about Captain Mercer's defiance during interrogations. It wasn't long before Alex became more than just another prisoner. He became a symbol of hope for those around him. One fateful evening, while huddled together in their cell after another brutal day under Zarkan rule, Sarah approached Alex with urgency in her eyes. "I have an idea," she whispered fiercely. "If we can access their communication systems during shift change tomorrow night, we might be able to send out a distress signal." Alex felt adrenaline surge through him at her words. This could be their chance, a way to reach out to any nearby human forces who might still be fighting against the Zarkans, or even other sympathetic species who could help them escape this hellish nightmare. "Let's do it," he replied with conviction. "We'll need everyone's help." That night marked the beginning of their covert operations within the prison camp. They meticulously planned every detail: who would distract guards while others worked on disabling security systems. How would they communicate without being caught? Each step brought them closer to freedom, but also deeper into danger. As they prepared for their daring plan under cover of darkness, Alex couldn't shake off feelings of doubt creeping into his mind. What if they failed? What if they were caught? But then he looked around at his fellow prisoners, their faces illuminated by hope, and he knew they had no choice but to fight back against oppression. The next evening arrived with tension thick in the air as they executed their plan amidst shadows cast by flickering lights overhead. Heart pounding in his chest like a war drum, Alex led his group towards what could either be salvation or doom. Little did they know that this night would change everything. The night they would rise against their captors and ignite a spark that could lead to rebellion across galaxies. The prisoners' resolve. As the days dragged on in the Zarkan prison camp, Captain Alex Mercer found himself enveloped in a haze of despair and determination. The cold steel walls of his cell echoed with the cries of fellow prisoners, each voice a reminder of the suffering endured under their alien captors. Yet, amidst this bleakness, a flicker of hope began to ignite within him, a resolve to escape and fight back. Life in captivity. The prison was a sprawling complex, filled with the remnants of defeated soldiers from various worlds. Guards patrolled the corridors, their metallic armor glinting ominously under the harsh lights. Alex observed everything meticulously, cataloging their routines and weaknesses. He noticed that the guards often grew complacent, especially during shift changes when they would gather to boast about their conquests. Alex's cellmate, a young engineer named Sarah, shared stories of her life before capture. She spoke of her family and dreams, her voice laced with both sadness and defiance. Together, they began to strategize. They would not remain mere prisoners. They would become agents of change. The bond with Zora. One day, while Alex was being led to the interrogation chamber, he caught sight of a Zarkan guard who seemed different from the rest. Her name was Zora, and she had an air of curiosity about her. Unlike her comrades, who reveled in cruelty, Zora appeared conflicted as she watched Alex endure yet another round of questioning. Afterward, during a rare moment alone in the hallway, Zora approached him cautiously. "Why do you resist?" she asked softly. "You cannot win." Alex met her gaze with unwavering resolve. "I fight for my people," he replied. "We will not be silenced." Intrigued by his spirit, Zara began to visit him more frequently under the guise of routine checks. Their conversations evolved from mere exchanges to discussions about freedom and resistance. Alex shared his plans for escape, and Zara listened intently, her heart slowly swaying toward his cause. Planning an escape. As days turned into weeks, Alex and Sarah devised a plan to escape during a scheduled supply transfer. They learned that the guards would be distracted as they unloaded new weapons and equipment meant for the Zarkan forces. This would be their chance. On the night of the transfer, tension hung thick in the air as Alex gathered his fellow prisoners in hushed tones. "This is our moment," he urged them. "We must act swiftly and decisively." With Zara's help from inside the ranks of the Zarkans, they managed to gather information about guard placements and security protocols. The plan hinged on timing. If executed correctly, they could turn the tide in their favor. The night of reckoning. As night fell over the prison camp, shadows danced across the ground like specters waiting for liberation. The sound of heavy machinery echoed in the distance as Zarkan transport ships arrived with supplies. Alex felt adrenaline surge through him. This was it, the moment they had been preparing for. Under Zora's watchful eye from her post near the supply area, Alex signaled to Sarah and the others to move into position. Heart pounding in his chest like a war drum, he led his group toward freedom. As they approached the supply area, chaos erupted when one of the prisoners accidentally triggered an alarm while trying to disable a security panel. Red lights flashed ominously as sirens blared throughout the camp. "Move! Move!" Alex shouted as he pushed forward through the confusion, turning chaos into opportunity. Amidst the chaos, Zara sprang into action. She used her position to create distractions among her fellow guards, while subtly guiding Alex's group toward an exit point she had memorized during their conversations. "Over here," she called out when she spotted them through a narrow corridor lined with crates. With every step they took toward safety, hope surged within them. As they neared the exit, Zarkan guards began to regroup and retaliate against what they perceived as an uprising. The sound of blaster fire echoed behind them as they sprinted toward freedom. "Keep going," Sarah urged as she glanced back at their pursuers closing in fast. Just as they reached what seemed like an impenetrable wall of guards ahead, Zara shouted for them to follow her lead into a side passage that led deeper into the ship's underbelly. A glimmer of hope. After what felt like hours of running through darkened corridors filled with alien technology and machinery, they finally reached an escape pod bay hidden from view. The door slid open with a hiss as they rushed inside. "Quickly, get inside," Alex commanded as he helped Sarah and others secure themselves within the pod's cramped confines. Zara paused at the entrance, torn between loyalty to her kind and her newfound allies. "You have to go. I'll hold them off," she insisted desperately. "No, you're coming with us," Alex replied firmly but gently. As Zara hesitated for just a moment before nodding resolutely, she stepped inside just as alarms blared louder around them. Time was running out. With trembling hands, Sarah initiated launch protocols while Alex kept watch at the door. The sound of approaching footsteps grew louder. Guards were closing in fast. "Launch now," he shouted as he prepared to defend against any incoming threats. The pod jolted violently as it detached from its moorings and shot away from the Zarkan cruiser into open space. A new beginning. As they hurtled through space toward an uncertain future, relief washed over them like a wave breaking against rocky shores. They had escaped, but at what cost? Zara looked at Alex with gratitude shining in her eyes. "You did it," she said softly. "No," he replied with conviction. "We did it together." In that moment aboard their small escape pod, surrounded by darkness yet filled with hope, Alex realized that this was only the beginning of their fight against oppression. They would not just survive, they would rise up against their captors and reclaim their freedom. As stars twinkled outside their viewport like distant beacons calling them homeward, Alex felt a renewed sense of purpose ignite within him, a fire that would not be extinguished until every last human was freed from Zarkan tyranny. In this vast universe filled with challenges ahead, one thing was certain. Humanity would not go quietly into darkness. They would roar back with resilience and strength that could shake galaxies. The spark of rebellion. As the escape pod drifted through the dark void of space, Captain Alex Mercer felt a mixture of relief and anxiety. They had escaped the clutches of the Zarkans, but the fight was far from over. With Zara, the Zarkan guard who had become an unexpected ally, on board, they needed to strategize their next move. The flickering lights of the control panel illuminated their faces as they plotted their course. Regrouping and planning. After a few hours of silence, Alex turned to his fellow escapees. "We need to establish contact with any remaining human forces. We can't fight this battle alone," he said, his voice steady but urgent. Zara nodded, understanding the gravity of their situation. "Humans are scattered across different sectors," she replied. "But I know how to access their communication frequencies. If we can find a secure channel, we might be able to reach them." With Zara's guidance, they worked together to modify the pod's communication system. The tension in the air was palpable as they adjusted dials and input codes. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, a crackling voice broke through the static. "This is Commander Mason." "Who is this?" Alex's heart raced as he recognized the voice of a trusted leader from his past. "Commander Mason, this is Captain Alex Mercer. We've escaped from Zarkan captivity and need immediate assistance." "Alex, it's good to hear your voice," Mason replied, relief evident in his tone. "We thought you were lost. Where are you?" "We're in an escape pod near Zarkan territory," Alex explained quickly. "We need to regroup and plan an offensive against them." Gathering allies, Mason wasted no time in organizing a meeting point for Alex and his crew. They navigated through space with Zora's knowledge of Zarkan patrol routes, avoiding detection while making their way toward a hidden base on a nearby moon. Upon arrival, they were greeted by a ragtag group of soldiers and civilians who had managed to evade capture. The atmosphere was charged with anticipation as Alex shared their story of survival, and Zara revealed crucial information about Zarkan operations. "Zarkans underestimate us," Zora said confidently. "They think we're broken and defeated, but we have the advantage of surprise." Inspired by her words, the group began to strategize ways to disrupt Zarkan supply lines and communication networks. Each member contributed ideas based on their skills. Engineers offered insights into technology, while former soldiers shared combat tactics. The first strike. Days turned into weeks as they prepared for their first offensive strike against the Zarkans. They trained relentlessly, honing their skills and building camaraderie among one another. Alex felt a renewed sense of purpose. He was no longer just a prisoner, but a leader rallying his people toward freedom. The night before their first mission, tension filled the air as everyone gathered around a makeshift table covered in maps and blueprints of Zarkan facilities. "This is where we'll hit them." Alex pointed at a supply depot on the map. "If we can take it out, we'll cripple their operations for weeks." Mason nodded in agreement. "We'll split into teams. One will create distractions while another infiltrates the depot to plant explosives." As they finalized their plans, Zora approached Alex privately. "Are you sure about this?" she asked quietly. He met her gaze with unwavering determination. "We have to show them that humanity will not be subdued." Infiltration. The day of the mission arrived, shrouded in darkness as they approached the supply depot under cover of night. The air was thick with anticipation as they moved stealthily through the shadows. Alex led one team while Mason directed another from a distance via communication devices. As they neared the depot's perimeter, adrenaline coursed through their veins. "Ready?" Alex whispered to his team. They nodded, gripping weapons tightly as they prepared for what lay ahead. With a swift motion, Alex signaled for them to advance. They moved like phantoms through the night, evading guards and security systems that had once seemed insurmountable. When they reached the entrance of the depot, Alex took a deep breath before breaching the door with precision explosives. The blast echoed through the night as they rushed inside. Chaos unleashed. Inside, chaos erupted as alarms blared and lights flickered ominously overhead. Zarkan guards scrambled to respond, while Alex's team swiftly moved into action. "Plant the charges," he shouted over the cacophony as they fought off incoming guards. Zara demonstrated her combat skills alongside Alex. She had proven herself time and again during training sessions, and now she fought with fierce determination beside him. As explosions rocked the depot, panic spread among Zarkan forces who were unprepared for such an audacious attack from humans they had deemed powerless. "Fall back! Fall back!" one guard shouted in desperation as human fighters surged forward. A turning point. With each passing moment, it became clear that humanity's resilience was stronger than anyone had anticipated. They fought not just for survival, but for revenge against those who had imprisoned them. As explosions continued to ripple through the facility, Alex spotted an opportunity near an armory filled with advanced weaponry, something that could turn the tide in their favor against Zarkans. "Let's secure that armory," he yelled to his team. They charged forward together with renewed vigor as blasts echoed behind them. Their mission was succeeding beyond expectations. Once inside the armory, they quickly gathered weapons and ammunition before retreating back toward their exit route, now littered with debris from earlier explosions. Victory at last. Emerging from chaos into open air felt surreal. They had done it. They had struck a significant blow against their captors. As they regrouped outside under cover of darkness amid distant sirens wailing behind them, cheers erupted among them when Mason joined them moments later. "We did it," he exclaimed proudly. Alex couldn't help but smile at his comrades' faces filled with joy and triumph, a sight he never thought possible during those dark days in captivity. But deep down inside him lay an understanding that this was only one battle won in an ongoing war against oppression. Many more challenges awaited them ahead. A new legend. Word spread quickly throughout human settlements about their daring raid on Zarkan territory, a tale that ignited hope among those still trapped under alien rule. Jack Mercer became more than just a name. He became a symbol, a beacon of resistance sparking fires across galaxies where humanity struggled against tyranny. As days turned into weeks again, following their first strike, success stories multiplied. Humans began coordinating attacks across various fronts inspired by Jack's leadership and bravery displayed during missions like these. The Zarkans were losing control over regions once thought secure. Whispers grew louder among both captives and allies alike. They would no longer bow down quietly. They would rise up fiercely. In every skirmish fought bravely by humans emboldened by newfound strength, lay seeds planted for future victories yet unseen. Every battle won brought renewed vigor, fueling dreams long lost. The dream for freedom. As Jack stood atop a rocky outcrop overlooking reclaimed lands, once ruled by fear, the sun rising behind him, he felt hope swell within him like never before. Humanity would fight back fiercely until every last soul was free. With determination etched into every fiber of his being, Jack vowed silently that this was only just beginning. The spark ignited would soon become an unstoppable flame burning brightly against darkness looming ever closer. Rallying the resistance, as the dust settled from their first successful strike against the Zarkan supply depot, Captain Alex Mercer and his ragtag group of human survivors found themselves at a pivotal moment in their struggle for freedom. The exhilaration of victory coursed through their veins, but they knew that this was just the beginning. They had struck a blow against their captors, but to turn the tide of war, they needed to rally more allies and solidify their plans. The gathering storm. In the days following the attack, whispers of rebellion spread like wildfire among the human settlements. News of Alex's daring escape and the successful raid on the Zarkan depot ignited hope in those who had long been oppressed. People began to believe that they could fight back against their alien overlords. Alex convened a meeting with Commander Mason and other key figures in their makeshift base on the moon. The atmosphere was charged with energy as they discussed their next steps. "We need to coordinate our efforts," Alex said, his voice steady. "If we can unite our scattered forces, we can launch a series of coordinated attacks that will destabilize Zarkan control." Mason nodded in agreement. "We have to hit them where it hurts. Supply lines, communication hubs, anything that will disrupt their operations." Zara, who had become an invaluable asset with her knowledge of Zarkan tactics, chimed in. "I can help identify key targets based on my experience within their ranks. They're overconfident and underestimate us. We can exploit that." Building alliances. With a plan taking shape, Alex and his team set out to forge alliances with other human factions and sympathetic species who had suffered under Zarkan rule. They traveled to nearby settlements, sharing stories of their victories and rallying support for a united front. In one such settlement, they met a group of former soldiers who had been hiding from Zarkan patrols. These fighters were weary but eager to join the cause. "We thought we were alone," one soldier named David said, his eyes lighting up with determination. "But if you can fight back, so can we." As they gathered more allies, Alex emphasized the importance of unity. "We are stronger together than apart," he said passionately. "Each victory we achieve will inspire others to rise up against our oppressors." The heart of resistance. Back at their base, plans for coordinated strikes began to take shape. They mapped out Zarkan facilities across the region, identifying weak points where they could strike effectively. Each member contributed ideas based on their skills. Engineers worked on modifying captured Zarkan technology, while strategists devised plans for guerrilla warfare. As they prepared for their next mission, Alex felt a sense of camaraderie growing among them, a bond forged through shared struggle and determination. They were no longer just survivors. They were warriors united by a common goal. One evening, as they gathered around a flickering holographic map displaying Zarkan positions, Zara shared critical intelligence about an upcoming Zarkan supply convoy that would be moving through a nearby valley. "This is our chance," she said, her voice steady. "If we ambush them here," she pointed to a narrow pass on the map, We can cut off supplies and create chaos among their ranks. The ambush. The night before the ambush was filled with tension as everyone prepared for battle. Weapons were checked, strategies reviewed, and morale bolstered by shared stories of past victories. Alex moved among his comrades, offering words of encouragement and reminding them of what was at stake. Tomorrow isn't just another mission. It's a statement, he told them earnestly. We are here to show the Zarkans that humanity will not be broken. As dawn broke over the horizon, casting golden rays across the valley, they took their positions along the narrow pass where the convoy would soon arrive. The air was thick with anticipation as they waited in silence. When the rumble of Zarkan vehicles echoed through the valley, adrenaline surged through Alex's veins. He signaled his team to prepare for action. Now, he shouted as they launched an attack from hidden positions. Explosions erupted as they targeted key vehicles in the convoy. Chaos ensued as Zarkan soldiers scrambled for cover amidst the smoke and debris. Alex led his team forward with fierce determination, firing precisely aimed shots at disoriented guards. Turning the tide. The ambush was swift and effective. Humanity struck back with ferocity that caught the Zarkans off guard. As they fought through enemy lines, Alex felt a surge of hope wash over him. The tide was turning. Push forward, he yelled as they pressed deeper into enemy territory. Zara fought valiantly beside him, her skills honed from her time within Zarkan, ranks evident in her movements as she disabled enemy weapons and provided cover fire. As chaos reigned around them, David led a group toward the supply trucks laden with weapons and ammunition meant for Zarkan forces. We need to destroy these, he shouted as he planted explosives around the trucks. With each explosion that rocked the valley floor, morale surged among human fighters. They were reclaiming what had been taken from them. A symbol of hope. After securing victory at the ambush site, Alex stood amidst his comrades as they surveyed the wreckage left behind. The remnants of Zarkan supplies now lay scattered across the valley floor like trophies of war. We did it, someone shouted amidst cheers erupting around him. In that moment of triumph, Alex realized how far they had come. From mere survivors hiding in shadows to warriors reclaiming their strength against tyranny. Each victory fueled their resolve. Each battle fought brought them closer together as allies united by purpose. As news spread about their ambush success throughout human settlements across regions still under Zarkan control, hope blossomed anew among those who had lost faith in freedom's possibility. Alex knew this was only one step toward liberation. Many more battles lay ahead, but now humanity stood ready to fight back fiercely against oppression. The rising resistance. In subsequent weeks following victories like these, the resistance grew stronger. People flocked to join their cause, inspired by tales of bravery told around campfires at night or whispered among families during quiet moments when fear threatened to overwhelm hope. With every skirmish, one came new allies willing to risk everything for freedom. Each person added fuel to flames igniting across galaxies where once despair reigned supreme. As Jack Mercer led his troops into battle after battle, he felt something shift within him, a sense that humanity would not only survive but thrive against insurmountable odds. Together, they would forge a future free from chains binding them down. Together, they would rise up against all who dared threaten their existence. The fight was far from over. It had only just begun. And Jack Mercer stood resolute at its forefront, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead.